The Masters isn't just a golf tournament, it's American sport's most exclusive invitation. Played on the same course every April, it's the only major championship where past champions can return for life and where traditions are preserved with almost religious devotion. But did you know this prestigious tournament began as a desperate attempt to save a failing real estate development during the Great Depression? Or that its iconic green jacket was originally meant for club staff to be easily identified by guests? In this video, I'll break down the complete history of the Masters tournament, from its humble beginnings to becoming golf's most coveted title. This isn't just about who won and lost, it's about how a single golf tournament transformed from a struggling event that lost money for years into a global sports phenomenon that generates hundreds of millions in revenue while steadfastly refusing to change with the times. And the most surprising part? Some of the tournament's most famous traditions were complete accidents that were never intended to become permanent. The founding vision. The Masters tournament began not as a grand sporting vision, but as a practical solution to financial problems. In 1931, legendary amateur golfer Bobby Jones and investment banker Clifford Roberts purchased a 365-acre plant nursery called Fruitland in Augusta, Georgia. Their initial plan was to create an exclusive winter golf retreat for their wealthy friends from the Northeast. Jones, who had recently retired from competitive golf after completing the Grand Slam in 1930, enlisted renowned architect Alistair Mackenzie to design the course. Mackenzie and Jones shared a vision influenced by the old course at St. Andrews. Andrews, wide fairways, strategic bunkering, and dramatic greens that would reward creative shot making. The timing couldn't have been worse. The Great Depression had devastated the American economy, making it difficult to attract the wealthy members needed to finance the club. By 1933, only 76 members had joined, far short of the 1,800 needed to make the club financially viable. To generate publicity and attract new members, Jones and Roberts decided to host a tournament. The first Augusta National Invitation Tournament was held in March 1934, with Horton Smith winning the inaugural event and a prize of $1,500. The tournament lost money, as it would for many years, but it succeeded in drawing attention to the club. The name The Masters was actually suggested by Clifford Roberts from the beginning, but Jones thought it too presumptuous for a new tournament. It wasn't until 1939, after 5 tournaments, that the event officially became known as the Masters Tournament. Early years and traditions. The early Masters tournaments established traditions that continue today, though many evolved by accident rather than design. The famous green jacket, now golf's most coveted prize, was originally introduced in 1937 as a way for patrons to easily identify club members who could answer questions. Members were required to wear the jackets during the tournament. It wasn't until 1949 that the green jacket was awarded to the Masters champion, when Sam Snead received one as a symbol of his honorary membership. The tradition of the previous year's winner helping the new champion into the jacket began in 1952. Creating one of sport's most iconic ceremonies. The tournament's April date wasn't original either. The first Masters was played in March, but tournament organizers soon realized that late March in Augusta often brought unpredictable weather that could damage the course's blooming azaleas and dogwoods. By 1940, the tournament had moved to its current April date to better showcase Augusta's spring beauty. During World War II, the Masters was suspended from 1943 to 1945. The Augusta national property was used to raise cattle and turkeys to support the war effort. When the tournament resumed in 1946, it began its rise to prominence under the careful management of Clifford Roberts, who insisted on innovations that were decades ahead of their time. Roberts introduced the first spectator bleachers in golf, the first on-course scoreboards, and the first rope barriers to control crowd movement. He also established the tournament's controlled ticket policy, creating a waiting list for badges that eventually grew so long that it was closed for decades. The tournament transforms. The Masters truly became a major championship during the 1950s, largely due to the dominance of Ben Hogan and the emergence of television. Hogan's victories in 1951 and 1953 brought prestige to the tournament, but it was the arrival of television cameras in 1956 that transformed the Masters into a national event. Unlike other tournaments that sold their broadcast rights to the highest bidder, Augusta National maintained strict control over its television presentation. The club limited commercial time, approved commentators, and even dictated the terminology used on air. This control allowed the Masters to create a distinctive broadcast identity that emphasized tradition and beauty. The tournament's popularity exploded in the 1960s with the emergence of the Big Three: Jack Nicklaus, Arnold Palmer, and Gary Player. Palmer's charisma and 4 victories between 1958 and 1964 made him the tournament's first true star, while Nicklaus would eventually set the record with 6 Masters victories. The 1960s also saw the introduction of another famous tradition, the Par 3 contest. This Wednesday exhibition on the club's short course became a beloved pre-tournament event where players often have family members caddy and the winner supposedly faces the Par 3 jinx. No Par 3 contest winner has ever gone on to win the Masters that same year. If you're enjoying this deep dive into Masters history, you're going to love what's coming up on this channel. I'm creating a whole series on golf's greatest tournaments and the players who made them legendary. Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications right now so you don't miss any of these videos. I'll be covering everything from the Open Championship's 150-year history to the dramatic evolution of the PGA Championship. Subscribe now and let's get back to more fascinating Masters history, controversies, and changes. Despite its carefully cultivated image, the Masters has weathered significant controversies throughout its history. The tournament's exclusionary policies became increasingly problematic as American society changed. Until 1982, all caddies at the Masters were black men from the local community, required to wear white jumpsuits. Players weren't allowed to bring their regular tour caddies until Chairman Hord Hardin finally changed the policy. More significantly, Augusta National had no black members until 1990, when businessman Ron Townsend was admitted following the Shoal Creek controversy that exposed discriminatory membership policies at many prestigious golf clubs. The club didn't admit its first female members until 2012, when former Secretary of State Condoleezza Rice and business executive Darla Moore were invited to join. The tournament has also faced criticism for its course modifications. As driving distances increased with modern equipment, Augusta National repeatedly lengthened the course, adding nearly 700 yards since 1999. These changes, along with the addition of trees and rough, which Augusta calls the second cut, have altered the playing characteristics that Jones and Mackenzie originally designed. In 2002, Martha Burke, chair of the National Council of Women's Organizations, led protests against the club's all-male membership policy. Then, Chairman Hootie Johnson famously responded that the club would not be forced to change at the point of a bayonet. The controversy led to the unusual situation of the 2003 Masters being broadcast without commercials to protect sponsors from boycott threats. Despite these controversies, the Masters has maintained its position as golf's most prestigious event through a combination of tradition, exclusivity, and careful brand management. The tournament's limited commercial presence, featuring only a few select sponsors, has preserved a viewing experience largely free from the advertising saturation common in other sporting events. Modern era and legacy. The modern Masters tournament has been defined by Tiger Woods, whose 1997 victory revolutionized the event. Woods' 12-stroke victory at age 21 shattered scoring records and brought unprecedented attention to the tournament. His subsequent victories in 2001, 2002, 2005, and most dramatically in 2019, after years of personal and physical struggles, created some of the Masters' most memorable moments. The tournament's global reach has expanded dramatically in recent decades. International players, once rare at Augusta, now regularly dominate the leaderboard. Since 1980, players from outside the United States have won more than half of all Masters tournaments, reflecting golf's global evolution. The digital age has forced even the traditional Masters to adapt. The tournament now offers limited streaming coverage of featured groups and holes, though still with far less comprehensive coverage than other major championships. Augusta National has embraced some technologies while resisting others, maintaining its carefully controlled presentation. Financially, the Masters has become extraordinarily successful while maintaining its unique character. The tournament generates estimated annual revenue exceeding $120 million, with much of that coming from merchandise sales and international broadcast rights. Unlike other tournaments that maximize revenue through high ticket prices and extensive corporate hospitality, the Masters keeps patron badges affordable, $115 per day in 2023, and limits commercial presence on the grounds. This financial success has allowed Augusta National to expand its influence beyond the tournament itself. In 2019, the club established the Augusta National Women's Amateur, addressing some criticism about its historical exclusion of women. The club also sponsors the Drive, Chip, and Putt Championship for junior golfers, with finals held at Augusta National the Sunday before Masters Week. The Masters tournament represents a remarkable paradox in modern sports, an event that has achieved global prominence while steadfastly maintaining traditions that seem increasingly anachronistic. From its humble beginnings as a marketing tool for a struggling golf club to its current status as golf's most prestigious championship, the Masters has evolved while creating the illusion that nothing ever changes. What separates the Masters from other sporting events is its deliberate limitation of growth, choosing exclusivity over expansion and creating unparalleled mystique through controlled scarcity. As the tournament approaches its centennial, it faces the same challenges as all of golf: technological advances, changing demographics, and evolving standards for inclusivity, while working to preserve the distinctive character that makes it unlike any other sporting event in the world. If you enjoyed this history of the Masters, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. I'm constantly creating new content about golf's greatest tournaments, players, and controversies. Leave a comment below with your favorite Masters moment of all time, and I'll see you in the next video.